Before I met my fiancé Robin, I was a single mom of 2 girls, currently 12 and 14. My daughters are my priority. They have been since the day they were born, and I do all I could to play both parents to them to be able to fully give them a stable life. Robin then came around and he absolutely adored them the day he met them. He even refers to each one of them as his left eye, right eye. That's how precious they are to him. We're getting married soon. He wants a child-free wedding and promised to make all of his family commit to this rule. However, when I took my daughters dress shopping and came home to show him the dresses they picked for the wedding, he went quiet, then pulled into the kitchen to have a talk. I noticed something was wrong, so I asked, and he told me that my daughters are also included in the no children rule. I told him those are my kids and their mom is getting married, of course they will want to attend. He said that if his family finds out, there's gonna be a problem and they'll accuse him of being a doormat and playing favorites between them and me. I said that was unacceptable and that no matter what the rules are, my daughters are always an exception, they're my daughters. He insisted that they stay home with a babysitter, but I refused. He said it's just one day and I was making it a big deal. I replied that it's not just any day but the day of their mom and dad getting married. He got angry and started pacing around, saying he was trying his best to stay calm and collected, but I was making it really hard for him. I told him this was my final answer and he blew up and said that I have no respect for him and his family to act this inconsiderate towards them. I asked him if his family are protesting about my kids' presence just because I'm a single mom. He went quiet and then said I knew how much he loves them and that I was trying to flip the argument on him when it was me who is refusing to cooperate. He has gone quiet not only towards me but grew distant from the girls as well. They are now wondering why their dad, they call him dad, isn't speaking to them. Honestly, I'm not sure if taking this stance is the best decision, seeing how he reacted. And now I don't know what to do. I'm 32 and my boyfriend is 34. My boyfriend and I have been together for 4 years. We went to another city on Saturday night to grab some food with another couple. We had a fun night, but eventually we had to leave to get the train back home. We didn't argue at all, but he seemed to be acting weird in the train station. He kept falling behind, so I stopped to wait for him. At one point he couldn't find his ticket, so he told me to just leave him there. I asked why I would do that and he didn't answer. I found his ticket and we moved on, but it almost felt like he was slowing down on purpose to try and get me to leave him behind. Every time I turned around he wasn't there. We missed the train we planned to get, so we sat down to wait for the next one. I said I was going for a quick smoke and I would be back soon, but when I got back he was gone. I called him and he was at the other end of the station. I found all this a bit frustrating, but I thought we were just getting our wires crossed. Somehow I lost track of him again as we were getting on the train. I was on the platform but couldn't find him. When I called he said he was already on the train. I got on, but it was super busy, standing room only, so I couldn't move around much to find him. I ended up finding a spare seat in my area, so I sat down and he said he had a seat too, so I thought we would just meet each other after. When I got off the train I waited on the platform until everyone got off. There was no sign of him. I checked outside, same thing. I called him and he told me that he was already in the taxi back to our house. I asked why he left me to go back alone and he said it's because he's fucking sick of me leaving him. I don't understand. I felt like I spent most of the night trying to find him. I called him 5 times that night, but he didn't call me to find me once. I don't like that he left me to go home alone at midnight, but maybe I'm being overdramatic. I ordered a taxi and went home, but we've barely spoken since. I think he's mad at me. I truly don't understand this behavior. Can anyone help me please? My boyfriend left me at a train station at night to go home alone. Am I wrong to be upset about this? Both my husband and I work for a dispensary as co-owners and managers. He is inventory manager and I'm kitchen manager, though up until last month I was at a different shop. I recently got the transfer approval. In our shop we only employ 11 people, 3 women including me, 8 men. One of the women is the owner's wife and she handles the finances, and the other woman, Jen, handles the front end. Now to be blunt here, Jen is a fucking smoke show. Drop dead gorgeous young lady, and to be blunt again, all the men here drool over her. Probably my husband included. I mean, even I drool over her, let's be honest. But she is also, how to put it, she runs through the men here. She has already dated or hooked up with 3 of them, and recently her eyes went to my husband. I'm used to this type of behavior because my husband is also a solid 10 on a bad day. But she also knows he is married, so there is definitely a disrespectful aspect of things there. However, she did not know that I was his wife until this morning. So my husband came to me yesterday and was like, listen, Jen has been trying to take breaks with me and she often gets into my truck without asking whenever she sees me sitting outside, asking that I smoke her up and being flirty, like touching his arms and legs type of shit. So I asked if he wanted me to handle it and he said, please, but don't be rude about it, because he had already told her several times he was married and her only response is, oh, I already know that. Well, I knew his break was at 10 and I made a point to come out a few minutes later. I walked to the truck and lo and behold, Jen is in the front seat. I hear my husband say, that's my wife's seat, and she just giggles and says she is keeping it warm. Please note we are in our 30s and this girl is 23. So I go up to the window and say, thanks for keeping my seat warm, but I'm here now. She just scowls at me and says, we are kind of talking here. So I go, yes, I see that, and now I would like to speak to my husband, with a smile on my face. Her face drops and she gets out quickly. Now the problem is that 3 of the guys were sitting there too, and they immediately start laughing, which embarrassed her even more. The owner's wife said I should have pulled Jen aside and said something versus embarrass her in front of everyone. Who is right?
I had a birthday dinner this weekend. A week before the dinner I sent a mass text out to 8 of my friends telling them the location, date and time, and to let me know by a certain date if they are coming so I can make a reservation at a hibachi place. Most people said they could come, one friend said they couldn't make it, and another friend never responded. A couple days later I was talking to one of the friends I invite about the dinner, and they said they thought the friend who didn't answer was coming, but they weren't sure. I said that he needs to RSVP so I have the girl's head count for the reservation. I never heard from the friend who didn't respond, so I made the reservation accordingly. I should add that before I made the reservation I texted in the mass text chain with last chance to RSVP, I'm making the reservation at this time today. The day of my dinner, the friend who didn't respond showed up right as the hostess was asking for the name of the reservation. I told her that we had an extra person show up and I apologized. She looked to see if she could place all of us, but was unable to find a place to accommodate an extra person without us having to wait 2 hours. So I told the friend who didn't RSVP that he could not join us for dinner. He got mad and told me I was a bad friend. He told me it was embarrassing to be turned away from a birthday party and that he wasted time and gas coming out. I told him he should have RSVP'd. He told me he told our friend that he might be going. I told him that wasn't good enough and he should have told me. He told me that I should have asked him if he was coming.
So about 5 years ago, my parents got divorced, because my dad was cheating on my mom, with another woman, let's name her Chloe. My mom was devastated after 26 years of marriage, and she quickly rebounded out of guilt, revenge, whatever. The marriage between my parents broke up, the house was sold, and my mom managed to scrape every penny out of my dad possible, in the legal proceedings. Good for her, although no amount of money can cover up emotional damage. Mom has been with her boyfriend now for 4 years. And he is the most decent, welcoming and friendly guy I've met. He takes great care of my mum, never pushes any boundaries, is involved with the family and is always there to help in any situations. My dad, on the other hand, has stayed with Chloe since the divorce. He has bought a house, acted as if everything is normal, and is quite honestly a sociopath. We've never met her, she has never expressed any interest in meeting us, and has never once reached out to us to introduce herself. When I needed to briefly move back to my home country to finish university, I asked to stay at my dad's house, that he shares with Chloe, for just a week or so while I found a room to rent in the city. Chloe and my dad declined, and said they wouldn't be able to help out. Fair enough, whatever, I just spent more time searching, and eventually found something. No thanks to them, my partner and I are due to be married next year. We're having quite a small wedding, only with close friends and family who we value. We're having the wedding in the country where my partner is from, so the few family and friends I have invited are flying out to celebrate. We decided, as a couple, not to invite Chloe. Dad is now kicking up a fuss, and goes on a sociopathic rage about how we're spoiled, and we've put him in an impossible situation. He's clearly hurt, but the choice we have made is steadfast and will not change. Who is right? My husband and I have 3 kids. I'm a som, full-time, and I take care of the kids while my husband works, full-time. My sister's wedding was last week. We live hours away, which is an issue for my husband. When we first got the invite, he told me that he wasn't going, that he will stay for the kids, and suggested I do the same. Since the wedding doesn't allow kids and my husband doesn't want to hire a babysitter after the one we had robbed us. We had gone back and forth on this. But I insisted on going since that's my only sister and I want to attend what might be a once-in-a-lifetime event for her. He chuckled at my statement, then we stopped talking about it. As the wedding was approaching, he brought it up and told me to miss it and stay with the kids. I suggested that since no babysitters were allowed then, I could get my friend to stay with the kids, but he refused. I ignored him, spoke to my friend who agreed to watch the kids and booked a ticket to travel to my sister's town in time. My husband found out and went on about how he had work, and that the most logical solution is that I stay home with the kids and let him make his living. I told him that I already took care of the kids and they'll stay with my friend. Honestly, I grew impatient. The day of my flight, I dropped the kids off at my friend's place, then headed to the airport. I found out he had canceled my plane ticket. I was upset but still insisted on going, so I went home and got into my car and drove 4 hours to get to the town. At 5 p.m. my husband called and was freaking out on me, asking where I was. I told him I made it to my sister's town, and he blew up saying I wasn't supposed to go, even said he canceled my ticket to get me to stay. He demanded I return, but I said not until the wedding was over. He called me horrible, neglectful mom, then had his mom scold me and accuse me of abandoning my own kids. There was a huge argument ensued when I returned home, and my husband kept on saying I was horrible to leave the kids and to ignore him like that and do what I wanted eventually. He's giving me silent treatment as of now, and I can no longer take it. I felt guilty and did not enjoy the wedding at all. Was I wrong for still going? Three years ago, I got an offer to work with one of the higher-ups of the company, and I've been doing it since then. I'm essentially her assistant. I worked as analyst before and I still do it, but in a different role. My cousin Jane knows the good side of my job, that I travel a lot and the pay is stupidly good, thanks to my mom who loves to share everything about us. She started working with our boss as a secretary a year ago. The moment she started working here, she has stated that she is better than me and is going to take my position. She says it every time we are in the office or with family. She thinks we are in the same level because I'm our boss assistant, We returned from Europe last week and on Friday she went again that she can't wait to take my spot and start traveling. I just got tired of it and told her that if she really wanted, she could take it. I said screw it, let's do it right now. I took her to our boss office and told her that Jane wants a shot for my position and would like an interview. 10 minutes later Jane came out crying and went home. I talked with boss and everything is cool. I went yesterday to a family gathering and Jane was there with my aunt and uncle who berated me for humiliating her without boss and was reprimanded. I told them that she wanted my job and I gave her an opportunity to take it. Is not my fault she failed.